Welcome back to the Go to Go podcast, man. Episode 121. NFL Divisional round of the playoffs right upon us. Wildcard weekend just wrapped up. NCAA semifinals also wrapped up. Ohio State, Notre Dame. In the championship, we'll cover that a little bit this episode too. So starting off, man, I won the regular season picks. You got one game up on me right now in the postseason, mainly because my Packers pick on the Eagles hate train. Starting it off, man, Texans Chiefs in Arrowhead. I don't think there's too much to say here, man. I'm taking the Chiefs. The Texans played a great game last week against the Chargers. Stroud looked shaky a little bit to kick off, but they bounced back, forced some turnovers against Herbert. Kind of looked like that Browns postseason game they had last year with Joe Flacco and making him turn the ball over. I think it's going to be a little bit different. This Chiefs defense is tough. Mahomes minimized his mistakes. I think the Chiefs roll at Arrowhead here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. The Chiefs, we all know Andy Reid coming off of a bye. Those guys will be well rested, and it's not like some of those other teams where you have to worry about will they be rusty? You know, they haven't played a meaningful football game in like a month or whatever. That last, was it the Steelers game? Was the last time they actually played for something that mattered. So I know for a lot of different other teams, there would be some questions. Will they be prepared? Will they, be a little rusty? But with the Chiefs, Andy Reid coming off of the bye, these guys, Patrick Mahomes, they've been here so many times before. Postseason is just like it's an extension of the regular season for them. Time and time again, we see them perform in these big moments, and I'm with you. I don't think it'll be any different in this game. The Chiefs should handle business against the Texans, who, like you mentioned, started off slow against the Chargers, but defense made some plays down the stretch, and they pretty much took over that game against Herbert. Little different animal here on the road against Patrick Mahomes and these Chiefs, so I think the Chiefs handle business here at home as well.
Commanders Lions in Detroit. Lions coming off that bye as well. Dan Campbell told KOC he'd see him in 2 weeks. He's playing the Commanders instead. This Lions team, they're coming off that bye. Now, really haven't been here before in terms of the bye week. The Lions, they got a tough battle ahead of them. I did pick Jared Goff in my quarterback confidence, man, so I'm rocking with the Lions here against the Commanders. Commanders, I think it's the last 5 games they've played, have won on the last possession of every single one of those 5 games. It's come down to the wire every time for Jane Daniels and company. Just always seems to get it done. Different guys stepping up each and every week on that offense, but Jane Daniels leads the charge. And as a rookie quarterback, tremendous thing. He turned his franchise around from a 4-win team, sitting here in the divisional round of the postseason. But I think this Lions team, they've done it all year. Offense has too many weapons. They get a week to get rested, get some of those guys healthy on the outside. Amon-Ra's been banged up this year. J-Mo's missed some time. Gibbs banged up. You got Montgomery out for this season. I still think they can get it done. The defense, they just need to make a couple plays, and they've been able to make a couple plays in terms of the secondary, forcing some turnovers and tight coverage because that pass rush has been real shaky for them. I think it's enough against this Commanders team to get it done. I think Dan Campbell moves his way to an NFC Championship game here for the Lions.
Yeah, this Lions team, throughout the entire second half of the season, even a little bit in the beginning once they lost Hutchinson, we've been talking about how banged up this defense is, and then you mentioned Montgomery, some of those guys have been banged up on the offensive side of the ball. It's like they needed this bye week just to get a couple guys back healthy. Like they were just down so many players, and you saw what they were able to do, 2 weeks ago against the Vikings. That defense showed that they can step up. Now hopefully you get a couple of guys back. That entire team is well rested, and at home especially, that Detroit Stadium's always rocking a great home field advantage. It's the perfect outcome. And then for the Commanders, man, Jaden Daniels and this team, you mentioned every single game seems to just come down to the wire. But overall, I think it'll be a little too much for the Commanders. I think this Lions team at home, you can kind of run on the Commanders too, especially with Jared Goff, Gibbs. We know how explosive that run game is. Open things up for the play action. But I'm an Eagles fan. I have Eagles bias. At this point, I need the best outcome for the Eagles, and that would be the Commanders winning and, having the NFC Championship game at Philly against the team we beat pretty handily earlier in the year. And then, it came down to a drop pass by Devontae Smith, and we almost beat him with our backup. So if the Eagles were able to get the Commanders at home, I'd feel pretty confident. In reality, yes, the Lions probably do win. I mean, this team, this offense, your guy Jared Goff, he's been playing really well. And they've shown to step up in big moments. But I'm in my Alexi bag, man. Give me the Commanders. I'm picking with my heart, not my head.
I mean, it worked for the Texans last week, not for the Bucs, but
and I think you also have to give Jaden Daniels so much credit. I mean, the way he played in that game against the Bucs, a pretty good team. Like that Bucs defense, Todd Bowles, like they coach really well in big moments. They send a lot of pressures, a lot of different things. It's a very complex scheme, and I mean, Jaden Daniels, you always mention he's out there. He just looks like a veteran down the stretch, able to make all the throws, and he's just such a threat with his legs. Like, maybe he doesn't break off like the huge runs like Lamar we see, like the 60-yard runs or the super highlight runs, but he's just so consistent when he runs, and he can pick up 7-8 yards here or there and move the chains when they really need to. In the gotta have it moments, especially in that final drive against the Bucs, scrambles, gets to 6 yards, dives for the first down. Like he's like a legit threat through the air and on the ground. Like it's pretty insane to see what he is. Like I feel like he's a more polished Lamar at this point in his career. Like when Lamar first came in, he was the last pick of the draft. A lot of questions. Will he be able
last pick of the first round?
Or of the first round, yeah. Will he be able to come in? Will the passing translate? We know he's a really good athlete. Obviously, we've seen what Lamar Jackson has become now, a 2-time MVP, possibly third. We'll see what goes on here in this season. But I feel like right now, Jaden Daniels is like just a younger version of the Lamar we see right now. So, I mean, it's tough to stop a guy like that when he has a predominant number one receiver in Terry McLaurin on the outside. Eckler came back. That was really huge for the run game. Kingsbury's got him schemed up. Zach Ertz, safety net over the middle. Like, it's a lot of things to like here on this Commanders offense. I just don't know if that defense will be able to hold up against this Lions offense, especially on the road at Detroit. That I could only imagine how crazy that place is going to be. But it should be a good game. I think we see some big plays. But
too bad Chauncey's not out there with the ski masks.
It don't matter, bro. He'll have them on in Philly. We'll get to the next game.
I like what you said about Jane Daniels just moving the sticks with his legs, not those explosive runs. That's what really, keeps the drives going.
And he's still capable of those explosive runs. That's the thing. But it just always seems like he doesn't need to. Like I think especially after early on in the season, he got banged up a little bit. Yeah, and that was also the biggest concern. He's definitely a bit more conservative now, and I think that's for the better for his future in this Commanders team.
Yeah, hopefully there's no clips like he was at LSU getting slung around the field. That
was pretty insane.
Speaking of which, man, former Detroit quarterback Matthew Stafford goes to your link in Philadelphia to play the Eagles, man. And the Eagles got to rest some starters. In the last regular season game, Jalen Hurts didn't play with the concussion. Saquon Barkley didn't go for the rushing record. He sat out 2 weeks ago, Last week, A.J. Brown reading the book on the sideline. They looked pretty fine controlling the game with that defense that you love so much and you rave about. So I'm gonna keep the Eagles talk to you because they played, pretty well against the Packers. Really didn't give them a chance. Jordan Love forced some turnovers, and that defense really locked in. But for the Rams, on the other hand, that defense came to play against the Vikings. 7 sacks, I believe, against Sam Darnold and the Vikings.
I think it was 9. I think they had 9.
They finished with 9?
Yeah, and they tied I believe that's the postseason record, yeah.
And then Matthew Stafford and company, he was hooking up with Higbee early, Kyron Williams on that touchdown. A little Texas route, man. They just look good on offense. Sean McVay's going to cook something up. Another postseason push for Matthew Stafford. That's why I put him so high on my list. So I'm going to go ahead and rock with the Rams. This isn't the fire Sirianni trend anymore. This is more I'm betting on Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay at this point to kind of carry this offense. And if that defense steps up half decently and plays a solid game. Jared Verse, he was, flying around with everyone else on that D-line too. As long as they don't put him back in pass coverage like they did the other night for a play, I think they'll be all right. We go ahead and rock with the Rams on the road. Tough opponent, tough game, man. But once again, the Fire Sirianni agenda does continue.
Well, obviously, I'm picking the Eagles here, and out of all of the outcomes, like I feel like the Rams was the matchup that would be the best for the Eagles. I know they went out, killed the Vikings, and that's a whole nother conversation. And Sam Darnold, we can have a different time, but I just feel like schematic-wise and what these two teams do, I feel like the Rams was definitely a better matchup for Philly here. I mean, it's no telling that Sam Darnold is just going to curl up and take sacks in the pocket 7 times a game. But based off, what we've seen throughout the regular season, I felt like this Rams matchup was better. And, earlier on in the season, the Eagles went out to LA, had a lot of success. That was kind of like Saquon Barkley's, breakout game where he kind of put the league on notice, and he really cemented this special season, or kind of kick-started this special season where, he had over 300 total scrimmage yards, 255 yards on the ground. I believe he had 2+ 70-yard touchdowns. So, like, there's a recipe for success here that the Eagles have found. You mentioned that Rams front seven, like on the defense, they are really young and really talented. I think they play well together. Not any, big superstar names. There's not an Aaron Donald there anymore, but those guys play well together. But I mean, I'm taking the Eagles offensive line against any front seven, especially a young front seven with the Rams. And we saw earlier on in the season where the Eagles really had no problem pushing those guys around in the run game or in the pass game. A lot of people coming out and say Jalen Hurts was rusty last week, this and that. Like, at this point, he's playing good enough. Saquon Barkley's going to get the carries. And you mentioned the defense. It just seems like every week they just get better and better. Like, Jordan Love coming into that game, I believe was like the least sacked quarterback. Was very protective of the ball. That was a very explosive offense. And this defense just came in and wreaked havoc, and I like that it's a lot of different guys stepping up. We see a lot of new, and you saw Nolan Smith. I believe he had 2.5 sacks. He was a game changer. Quinyon Mitchell got his first pick of his career. Darius Slay with the interception. Funny note that Darius Slay's pick was the first interception from an Eagles cornerback this season. It's been all the safeties and linebackers, so they were due. So it was really nice to see those guys step up. You losing to Kobe Dean, that's a huge, huge loss in the middle. He was the green dot, the guy calling plays. But I think with everything else around him, I think they'll be okay to get away with it. I think this defense, you want to get Matthew Stafford. He's a pocket quarterback. Best way to disrupt those pocket quarterbacks is pressure up the middle. And, enter Jalen Carter, probably one of, if not the best interior pass rusher. So I'd expect him to have a really, really good game, and those guys on the outside to collapse the pocket. So the defense can just keep things in front of him. Kyron Williams is a good back. Those receivers, they got some good guys on the outside. Puka, I believe, is a true number one. But Cooper Kupp, clearly not the guy he used to be a few years ago. Kyron Williams, a solid running back. But, he puts the ball on the ground. He fumbled against the Eagles, and then last night he had 2 balls that came out. It was at the very end. He was ruled down on both of them, but the ball came out. So, you can see there's some opportunity there. They'll create turnovers, and then
I think there was one early came out and they recovered. The Rams.
They recovered, and then the one later he was down. Knee just hit. So, ball security, maybe you look to kind of punch it out or make a play there. But I just think at the link in Philly, it's going to be like 20 degrees, especially with everything going on in LA. Those guys used to playing in the dome, not to mention everything going on in California. Like, will they even be able to practice in their stadium? There's questions with the air quality. They might not even be able to practice there. So having to travel across the country, like with all that stuff going on, like it's a human aspect. It's a tough element. It sucks that it's happening, and you really don't wish that upon anyone, but it's a legit question mark there. So I think it'll be a good game. You mentioned Matthew Stafford. He was in both of our top 5s. I think he's a really, really good quarterback. He's going to have some success, but overall, I just think this run game and the Eagles defense will be a little too much here on the road in the elements, and I'm rocking with the Eagles, man. Another win at the link. Also, side note, the Eagles have never lost a game in the divisional round.
Well, yeah, it's because they lost in the wild card last year, but
or the NFC Championship or Super Bowl. But
maybe they lost in the Super Bowl. What do you mean? Oh, you said at the link? Or?
No, in the divisional round, the Eagles have never lost.
Oh,
they lost in every other round. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That was a stat. Yeah.
Yeah,
we've lost in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about? Like,
thanks for the reminder. Browns fan.
I'm pretty. Anyways, man. I got Stafford on my quarterback confidence list, not Jalen Hurts. That's why I got that list, man. And I was the guy, what was it, 2 years ago? I put Jalen Hurts in that number 2, man, because I let the Eagles bias in my preseason quarterback ranking get to me, man. And that first touchdown he threw to Jahan Dotson, man. Shout out Jahan Dotson. He was supposed to break out for the Commanders last season, but never did. That pocket looked clean. So that offensive line is going to be trouble. If the Rams could get pressure, it's a tough thing to do. But that O-line held up well on that play. I think the most beautiful pocket any quarterback's ever dreamed of on that touchdown happened. And you said we're going to skip over the Sam Darnold. I mean, we got a little time, man. Not too many games. Like, do you bring him back, man? Did you just rock with JJ? Like,
at this point, coming into, in the beginning of this season, it was Sam Darnold and they had JJ McCarthy. Going into this season, no one thought Sam Darnold would be anywhere near what this season turned out at the end of the day. Like, if you would have told a Vikings
we
fan,
got them all at the bottom of the division.
Like, Sam Darnold will win 14 games for this team, but eventually you'll lose in the wild card round. Like, they would take that.
1 game away from being the number 1 seed.
Yes, or that's even better. Like, you win this game and you're the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah.
Every single Vikings fan would take that. It's unfortunate, though, these last 2 weeks, the way they went out, like, if both of these games were close or, maybe the defense didn't really step up or a drop pass here and there, but Sam Darnold still looked good, then I think you feel a lot more comfortable going forward. But it's just the way it looked, man. It just felt like we were back in 2018 and 2019 watching him play for the Jets. Like,
I think he was scared to turn the ball over. That's why he was taking so many sacks. Like, he didn't want to air it out, and the ghost of Sam Darnold, because he had time on a lot of those sacks.
He had a lot of time, and it just kind of like he didn't even want to throw the ball away. No, like, I can understand not wanting to turn it over, but like at least throw it away or
I agree.
Live to play another down. But I mean, taking big sacks on third down, like in key moments,
second and 6, you go to 3rd and 15.
Like, there's no good play call on 3rd and 15, so it's definitely tough. Me personally, what I would do with everything they have going on, and you look at that situation, I know it may sound crazy, bro, but like, they just won 14 games with Sam Darnold. Like, I wouldn't re-sign Sam Darnold. You literally have Daniel Jones on your roster. It's the same exact player, the same exact thing. Like, everyone wrote off Sam Darnold. No one really thought he'd have success. He came in and he won games. Like, Daniel Jones comes in. He's had even more success than Sam Darnold in the NFL. Daniel Jones has made the playoffs before. Until JJ is completely healthy, until he's ready to go, I wouldn't pay Sam Darnold. I would let Sam Darnold walk. Let someone else pay him. And then you have Daniel Jones on your roster. He's still getting paid by the Giants. You sign him for a vet minimum. He's not costing you anything. Put him out there. Play with Daniel Jones until JJ is ready to take over and be your true number 1 quarterback that you drafted him to be. But I wouldn't bring back Sam Darnold and pay him after what you just got and after what you just saw him do when you have, I think, a very similar player, a very similar career circumstance in Daniel Jones on the roster to where you could possibly do the same thing or just have him out there until JJ is ready, because I think ultimately me and you and pretty much everyone can both agree when JJ McCarthy's fully healthy, when he's ready to go, he's going to be the guy. But until then, I'm not paying Sam Darnold, a replacement quarterback starting money when I have another capable starting quarterback that can be a bridge. Like, I just don't see why you would do that, especially with the way things ended.
Yeah, I'm just not rocking with Danny Pennies, but I see what you're saying. And obviously, you draft JJ to be your franchise quarterback. You got to put him on the field. He can't sit forever. Kind of what, the Packers did with Love. Got to move on from Rodgers.
But that's different because Jordan Love was healthy. J.J. McCarthy's like legit injured. He like tore his meniscus, and then the report saying that he had a setback and had another surgery. So you don't want to put him out there in harm's way. I think it's like a substitute teacher, bro. Like Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I'm saying though, like once
snaps.
he is ready.
Oh, 100%. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is the future of this team. I'm just saying Sam Darnold's a free agent. Like, yeah, if he was under contract for another year, then yeah, running back with Sam Darnold, that's fine. And then once JJ's ready, you put him in there. But he's not. Sam Darnold's going to be looking to get paid. I'm sure, especially with this quarterback class and this offseason, everyone that's out there, someone will give Sam Darnold another contract. Like the Saints, I know your Browns have been into talks. Like, I'm not saying it, especially after these last 2 games, he's not getting, a 3-year, like he's not getting guaranteed money. Like it might be another, 1 year prove yourself deal. But
I think someone gives him a couple.
Well, yeah, but I mean, at this point, if you're the Vikings, you don't have to do that because you literally have someone already on your roster in that same situation Sam Darnold was already in, and Daniel Jones. Like, he's on the team. He's not going to be as expensive as Sam Darnold, and then you just start him until JJ is ready. Like, if JJ is completely healthy and completely ready to go next year, week 1, he's your starter. Like, no questions asked. But if he did have some setbacks, if he might take a little longer than you expect, you just have Daniel Jones be a placeholder. You don't pay him the money that Sam Darnold's probably going to get in the market, and you just wait till JJ is healthy because, I mean, this team's talented. We saw this defense, what they were able to do. Like, defense played pretty well against the Rams. Like, the Rams had a good game plan, like, outside of that first drive. Like, they didn't do, like, anything crazy. Like, it wasn't anything super, super amazing. Like, the offense played good enough. It was just the defense created a bunch of crazy plays, a bunch of turnovers, and offense kind of just played off of that. So you got Justin Jefferson there. Like, there's talent on that Vikings team. So until I would say JJ is completely healthy, there's no need to bring back Sam Darnold. Daniel Jones, he's your placeholder. If JJ is ready to go week 1, he's your guy. If not, you just roll Daniel Jones out there. He's a lot cheaper. He's not going to be as expensive as Sam Darnold until J.J. McCarthy, the guy you drafted in the top of the first round, is ready to go and he's fully healthy. That's what I would do.
I don't think he'll ever be ready to go in terms of a capable NFL quarterback. I'm not buying in J.J. McCarthy, but I would do that if I was the Vikings. They drafted him for a reason.
All I will say is
I'm not buying
watching this Michigan team this year compared to last year, I think he gets a bump up in my books. Like, right. I mean, that Michigan team was
Blake Corum ran. Come on.
That Michigan team this year was just terrible. At least J.J. McCarthy, when it mattered the most, like down the stretch, like when they had to make plays, like he made plays for him in the passing game. So there's definitely something there.
Not that guy either.
There's definitely something there, and you got to look into where he's going, bro. Kevin O'Connell, he won Coach of the Year. He turned around Sam Darnold's career. Like, he won 14 games with Sam Darnold, the guy we just saw like fold in the pocket.
Listen, I'm not saying I'm the best judge of quarterback play, clearly, but
I'm just saying there was definitely a lot more to it. Was just Blake Corum ran. Like, yes, it was a very heavy run offense, but Jason McCarthy definitely made plays. They definitely saw something. They liked to draft him.
And look what your boy Harbaugh's doing to your boy Herbert.
Bro, they won 11 games, fam. Now, postseason talk, that's different, but going in there in terms of changing guys and, bringing in new talent, like, hey, man, hey. I will call it a success. Staley as an OC, yeah, a defensive guy, have him call plays. Like, that's a whole other story, but I definitely think, like, bro, and especially, how about this? And if McCarthy came out in this year's quarterback class, I think he'd be the number 1 quarterback.
I don't like it. I do not like that, no. So I think he was reached for last year in general. And I get he was the youngest talent coming out of that class, I'm pretty sure, because he was 21 years old.
I think Drake May might have been younger. Well, him and Drake May are like around the same age, I believe.
I think he was he was 21 as a junior. So
Drake May, I believe, was a true junior as well.
So I get it. There's upside compared to guys like Penix, who's been in the NCAA for 6 years, Bo Nix, who had the most games started.
Bro, mind you, he looked good this preseason, bro. JJ looked solid in the preseason. He made some big throws. He looked good. So like, I mean, it was trending in the right direction before that ACL injury. But I get it. I understand.
DTR looked good in the preseason his rookie year.
Well, once again, I think you got to put in context where he was at, what's going on. Like, let's just be real. You're a Browns fan. Like, you'll know this better than anyone, bro. Like, come on, bro. Like, is a young quarterback really going to be able to succeed there? Or would you rather have him in Minnesota? Like, I also think, landing spot and everything like, around him.
DTR did look good in the preseason, though.
I know. And then he's, like, has the worst touchdown to interception ratio in the league, NFL history, because he plays for Cleveland, bro. Like, no shots and no shade, great but it's just like.
Man. I think we off-season talk. But no, I don't think. You think JJ goes number 1 if he was in this class?
I definitely do. I think so, man. Like, Shador, I think there's just too many question marks with the top guys. Like, bro, there's like rumblings like, oh, if Drew Aller had a good game, like he go number 1. Like, you see what Drew Aller's doing. Like, they're taking people like, it's like scouts and people saying Drew Aller could like be the guy that jumps up. Like, I don't know, bro. Like,
yeah, I watched that Penn State game. He's not jumping anywhere besides another season in the collegiate league.
Listen, man, this is all I'm gonna say. Is like Cam Ward, I saw him play in person. Bro, that nonchalant just standing in the pocket, bro. Like, fam, like I don't think that's not gonna work in the NFL. So like, if he's able to speed it up and be a little more accurate, then yeah, I definitely think Cam Ward can translate. And then Shador Sanders, like, I mean, you want to talk about what Sam Darnold did yesterday, holding on to the ball. Like, I think that's a real question mark for him. So I think those guys can definitely have success in the NFL and in different ways. Like Shador, you look on the bright side, like he's an extremely accurate quarterback, very poised. He's super tough. He's been sacked like 1,000 times over his 2 years at Colorado. Hasn't missed a game, can stay in the pocket, can make the throws. And then you look at Cam Ward, somebody with like an amazing arm talent, a little more on the athletic side, but the improvisation, the way he's able to make the off-platform throws. And I think you talk about the nonchalant, you gotta that he can use that to his advantage. He's a very poised quarterback in the pocket as well. So I think both of these quarterbacks have some upside and have some positives, but let's just say it's not last year's draft class where you got Drake May is looking good, Jaden Daniels is having a CJ Stroud-esque year, Caleb Williams showed flashes, and Bo Nix, he's made the playoffs as a rookie. And then you look at JJ McCarthy, I think he's the really last question mark. So I mean, I understand it, bro. I get it. We haven't seen him play yet, but I would lean a little on the positive side for JJ rather than you, a little more optimistic. But I understand he hasn't played football yet, so we just don't know.
Yeah, man. Browns, don't draft Abdul Carter, please.
You said don't?
Yeah, don't.
Why not?
Because they need a quarterback, not another edge rusher, bro. What are you gonna? You think Myles Garrett's gonna wait out another year and want to play with what? Sam Darnold?
Will Myles Garrett even be there?
He will. They get a quarterback.
Well, either way, he's gonna have to be waiting. Like, I don't think either one of those guys are gonna be able to come in and just
prime time,
immediate success.
I'm hoping for like a CJ Stroud, Jane Daniels effect in this class, man.
So who would you want the Browns to take?
Well, Cam Ward's going on, so it's literally Shador.
Well, I'm not sure. The Texans just fired their GM or whatever.
Titans?
Or the Titans, yeah, excuse me. So he was the one that was like linked to Cam or whatever, and like now it's a whole new regime. So I don't know. Like, we really don't know yet.
I think Cam Ward is the better prospect, but like you, that nonchalant man, I can't. It just
no, that was crazy, bro. Seeing it in person at the bowl game where he's literally just standing in like flat-footed, like not even moving, like just standing there. Like, there's no way he does that in the league, bro. There's just no way.
Someone's gonna pop him, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. But Ravens, Bills in Buffalo. Bills coming off steamrolling the Broncos after their tremendous first drive of the game. Ravens, on the other hand, this another steamroll, I guess you could say, against the Pittsburgh Steelers, to where Najee Harris had question marks about the media getting into the locker room and a bunch of stuff like that. You don't want to hear that if you're a Steelers fan, letting the media get in your attention. I mean, it seems like drama just follows whether it's Russell Wilson at this point, locker rooms he's leading, it just hasn't been good what happens in these locker rooms, whether it's credit to him, Mike Tomlin, a veteran coach who's been around this league for so long, letting it happen and letting his guys get affected by it, whatever it was. And then you also got George Pickens, doesn't help any team at all in the locker room. So, yeah, it was pretty easy for the Ravens. The Bills, same thing. I'm not sure who it was. They were calling this game of the year right here, Ravens-Bills. I mean, look, the two front runners for MVP going up against each other, battling it out in the AFC Divisional. I don't hate it at all, man. This Ravens team, they got a big task. Can the Bills defense hold up, make a couple stops? They've had ups and downs this year, and then the Bills, this is literally the Josh Allen show when it comes to Buffalo. So can he outshine Lamar Jackson and the Ravens units? I mean, the Ravens got much more. They got way better weapons, better defense. At times, they have been very spotty with their defense. I will say games like against the Browns where Kyle Hamilton didn't show up, dropped a couple picks.
Against the Eagles.
Like, they've been spotty on that defense, but we know they can be good. Kyle Hamilton, one of the better safeties in the NFL. Can they put it together against Josh Allen, who has looked amazing all season long with way less weapons than the Ravens have? But at the end of the day, the Ravens, Derrick Henry, I think Zay Flowers is questionable for this game. So that's something to look out for. But I'm going to go ahead and rock with the Ravens. I think they got enough. Rashad Bateman stepped up big time this year. Guys that you wouldn't expect stepping up for the Ravens in breakout seasons. And I just think it's too much for Josh Allen. I think one of these guys gets over their hump of losing big games in the playoffs, and I'm just going to rock with the Florida boy at this point because I don't like both teams.
Yeah, I think you did a pretty good job laying out like what's going on here. And when you look at these teams, I think they're both pretty even on the offensive side of the ball. When it's in terms of quarterback, like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, two quarterbacks, talent-wise, playing-wise, like literally two MVP candidates. Like they're playing at their peaks, at the top of the games. I think they're both in their prime, like playing amazing football. You look at the running game, Derrick Henry, I believe, is a notch above Cook. Like Cook is a really solid running back. He's had a solid year. He's found the end zone a bunch of times. But Derrick Henry is just like a different animal, physical beast. This Ravens team wants to lean on that run game. So when you look at, I think this matchup is going to come down to which defense can show up more. And the Bills defense, there's definitely been some question marks you've seen, against the Rams, against the Lions, where you've been able to throw on them. So the Texans also had some success. CJ Stroud was able to throw the ball a bit against this Bills defense. So I think Zay Flowers will be a key point into this, in this game, because if you want to beat this Bills team, you got to be able to throw the ball around. You got to be able to, score with Josh Allen, who's going to be able to pretty much put up points against anybody. So it's Ravens defense. I understand you got a little bit more confidence in them. I think they probably are the better unit at this point. I think both defenses have a little bit of, leeway in terms of you can kind of have some success. I just think it's a very even game. I think both of these teams have strengths, both have weaknesses, and in the playoffs, when it comes down to being super close like this, like, give me the home team. And you mentioned both quarterbacks having, like, playoff woes or whatever. Like, Josh Allen just literally can't beat Patrick Mahomes and then lost to Joe Burrow once, whereas we've seen the Ravens and Lamar Jackson and this team, I think they've had some worse losses than that. So we want to see that. That's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be, I heard someone say, like, it's going to be like 8 degrees in this game. So a very big Derrick Henry game. Lamar Jackson, Florida boy, how will he be in that weather? It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a really, really physical game. I think both teams are going to try to, impose the run, and it might come down to one big play down the field. And I just got more confidence in Josh Allen and this Bills team at home. It's not taking away anything from this Ravens team or Lamar Jackson. I can easily see them going into Buffalo and winning this game, but when it's even like this, like we just saw last week in the playoffs, like home playoff dogs, I think the Ravens are actually favored by like 1.5 or whatever. But home teams, like, this stuff matters in the playoffs. It's a big deal, especially you go into Buffalo, Bills Mafia. We know how that crowd can get. Like, It's gonna be rowdy. So I think it'll be a really good game. But when it's close like this, I'm just pick the home team.
Yeah. I think you talked about Josh Allen. You just can't beat, you know, Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow once, but he beat Skylar Thompson.
Your boy.
Barely. They beat Indianapolis one of their games. They beat the Ravens one game. I think Lamar was out for that game. If I am correct, they won the 23 wild card, which was that was against the Dolphins, I'm pretty sure, last year. No. It wasn't. Who did they beat last year in 23?
Who did the Bills beat?
So while they have gotten those wins.
Wasn't the Chargers?
It's been against lesser talent. Was it against C.J. Stroud in the Texans?
Was it the Colts?
No, that was a wild card.
No, because the Texans lost to the Ravens.
Yes. I mean, it's a great question, but it's 6-5. He's played against lesser talent at the quarterback position, whether they've been hurt or it's via Skylar Thompson. Because I remember that Skylar Thompson game and Josh Allen.
It was the Dolphins last year.
No, because they lost to the Chiefs. So it
wasn't.
Last year was someone else. 22 was the Dolphins and Skylar Thompson they beat. So it's like they were one play away from losing that game, and Skylar Thompson couldn't even get them in the end zone. It took turnovers at their own end of the football field, the 10-yard line, and for them just to be able to run the football in and get into the end zone and force field goals the whole game. Well, I mean, both of them really.
Steelers. They beat the Steelers on that Thursday night game. Remember when that field was like super icy and they moved it?
They had to switch the game to a Thursday.
Yeah. They beat the Steelers in a wild card.
Who was even Kenny Pickett was the quarterback?
Actually, I
think it was.
Wasn't it
Mason Rudolph or
Trubisky? I think no.
It was Trubisky.
It was one of them. It was Rudolph or Trubisky.
It is one. Yeah. Anyways, so that was another. Yeah, you're right. They played the game at like 2-3 p.m.
Yeah,
I remember that. So not really signature win. I know obviously the heartbreaker against the Chiefs and whatnot, but I mean I had to get over my heartbreak against the Chiefs. It's time to move on. It's about this year and what's happening now, and I don't know, man. Not enough quality wins for the playoffs for the Bills. Same thing for the Ravens, but like I said, I'm just gonna rock with the Boynton Beach legend and Lamar Jackson. So don't like either team. Wish they could both lose and send them both home. But I can't. So I think it is a good game on paper, game of the year, but never turns out to be like that. We'll see if we get a classic duel. But if not, man, get any more divisional talks.
I think Lamar did play that game.
Did he?
24-14, 162, one interception, no touchdowns.
So
it says Huntley he threw the ball 13 times, so maybe he got injured.
Hurt. Yeah, I mean, they're not putting Huntley in for 13 passes.
Yeah. 17-3. That was an ugly game. I don't remember that game.
Neither do I. It was all in the third quarter. Probably when Huntley turned the ball over or something. You have any turnovers?
He just got sacked.
No clue, man.
Oh, he fumbled it. I don't know if it was recovered or not, but he had one fumble. Lamar did too.
Yeah. Pro Bowl Huntley, man. Saw how he did.
Dolphins football.
Yep. Ohio State, Notre Dame, man. In for hopefully the Jeremiah Smith show, because he got a little quiet in the running back room for Ohio State really turned it up in their game against Texas, and he just handled business. And Notre Dame, that game came down to the wire. They looked like they were out of it. Riley Leonard did his best impersonation when I put a little money on him to sell the game to the best of his ability. But they were able to win that game. I think we were talking before, it's either 8 points or 8.5 point spread at this point. Ohio State favored, man. I'm just crushing it. Ohio State, I think, is the clear-cut better team. If Notre Dame comes down with it, talk about a Cinderella story and a season changer from that NIU game when they dropped early on in the year, and the biggest upset probably this whole season, against a ranked opponent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you, man. Ohio State, especially after that Michigan loss, they've just looked like a different team down here in the playoffs and going on this run. Like, Texans played them a little closer. It was a better game, but, I mean, ultimately you saw what happened. Defense steps up, makes a big play. Jack Sawyer with the sack and the scoop and score. Like, it's just too much talent on this Ohio State roster. I think, in the big moments, when it matters the most, they're going to come through. They're going to find a way to make big plays. So, yeah, this Notre Dame team is good. Like, they want to keep it low scoring. They want to be in those, physical defensive battles. Like, special teams makes a big play for them here and there. And then you look up, it's the fourth quarter, and they're up by 3 points. Like, that's where they want to be. Or they want it to be a tie game with, 5 minutes left in the fourth. Like, that's the only way I can see Notre Dame winning this game by keeping it. It's like, 10-10 going into the fourth quarter, or it's 6-6 with
13-10.
Yeah, something like low scoring,
under
like
20
one
points.
big play, a mishap here or there for Ohio State. But other than that, man, you mentioned it, they were able to take away Jeremiah Smith that entire game. I think he only had 1 catch for 3 yards against the Longhorns, but other guys stepped up. Megabuka got a little involved early on. Carnell Tate had a big game, and you mentioned the running back. So Will Howard also had the big run on fourth down where, it looked like he could have scored, but pulled a Danny Dimes. So, yeah, man, it's just too much talent on this Ohio State team. I think they showed that they can beat you pretty much any way. Like, you want to take away our passing game? Okay, cool. We'll run the ball. We'll get the quarterback involved in the run game, and then we saw against Tennessee and we saw against Oregon, whereas, okay, you're going to cover our guys one-on-one. You're going to give us the matchups we like. We're not afraid to throw the ball down the field. And our defense, they're going to get after the quarterback. They're playing with a different level of intensity. So, yeah, man, I think Ohio State should win this one pretty handily.
Yeah, I agree. Will Howard just do his best postseason performance and not regular season Will Howard. I think they'll be just fine. So Danny Dimes impersonation is perfect. I think that's a great way to end this episode, man. You getting more comments, takes, anything like that?
Oh, man. It's, you might as well just ride with the Eagles you might as well just change your pick.
I forgot their horns down, man.
You know what? I'll change it for you, fam. You gonna pick the Eagles, bro. You gonna rock with Philly, man. You might as well, bro. Your team's
rocking with the Rams, man. Regardless of what you put on that screen.
Fam, your Dolphins, Browns never made it this far. You just being a hater, bro.
Never made it this far?
Helmet
to helmet on Hollywood Higgins, we'd be in the AFC Championship game, but
just rock with a winning organization, fam, just for the playoffs, bro. It's cool. We'll accept you, bro.
And not with the Nick Sirianni slander I've had to hear for the past 2 years, and now you're...
I didn't say he's the answer, bro. I've always said...
I'm just saying, bro, but he still coaches.
Okay, fam, what's the one thing I've always said, fam?
I've always
said no about the roster,
the
bro.
Talent outperforms the coaching.
Okay, fam, as long as they keep outperforming, we're going to win, bro. Like... as long as Saquon can continue to rush for 100 yards, as long as Vic Fangio, the guy hated,
he sucks. He's gonna. That's talent outperforming coaching at its finest.
Fam, call it what you want, bro. We got #1 defense, Pro Bowlers all over the place. Zach Bond, all pro, first team. Like, come on, man.
Anyways,
I'm just saying, dog. Fam, you look every position group, bro. All pro bowlers all over the place, fam. Like, wow. It's amazing.
Go to go pod on TikTok if it's not banned by the next episode. YouTube Shorts will have that now, I guess, full time. But yeah, until next week, man, we'll be back with another episode. Peace.